is the Hot Mic with Kat and Dave with a very, very, very special guest. Welcome, Alessia Cara.
Yeah, there she is.
Alessia Cara, I can't wait to talk about your new album. But you know what I realized? It's been 10 years since you released Here. Since your first album, it'll be 10 years this year. Does it feel like 10 years?
I honestly, it's so tough because, on one side of it, it feels like yesterday, and then on the other side of it, it feels like a million years ago at the same time. I don't know how that's possible, but it's just wild to think about that it's been 10 years. I started when I was 18. I'm 28 now. I feel like a completely different person, but also the same person. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Kat, watch this. You want to see a connection?
Oh, I know exactly. I know exactly what you're going to do.
Watch this.
You'll never guess.
G-section.
G-section?
Brampton.
Oh my gosh, are you from there?
We are connected. Brampton.
Are you from there?
I'm from Brampton.
No, I didn't know that because I know you guys are.
He couldn't wait to drop it. You couldn't even wait a minute.
I didn't wait a minute. No, we had to drop it.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were just saying I was from there, and then that's why I was waiting. I was like, wait,
you are from Brampton. In case you didn't know.
No, I love
born
that.
in Brampton. Yeah.
Where exactly in? Well, I'm not gonna. What's your official address? No. G-section. Yeah.
Postal code and everything.
No way.
Long since moved, but yeah, G-section. Grew up around Chinguacousy Park.
No way.
Yeah, went there all the time.
I loved it there. I used to always.
We used to go for bandstand performances. I
at
bet you went to
Chinguacousy
tons of them.
Park. No way. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever go back
connection.
there? I guess either. Do you ever go back?
I do go back. There? My family's still there, so I do go back once in a while when I can. I'm definitely going to visit them this week.
When you travel around and you go back to a place, what do you notice first about things that have changed? Is it stores? Is it the sidewalks should look different? What is the thing that just feels different when you go home?
It's strange because when I first moved, years ago when I was 4, it was a very rural kind of area. So there was nothing around. And it seems like every time I go back over the last 20 years, every time I go back, there's a new development, a new store, a new plaza. It's always there's things that I didn't see the last time. It's crazy. Yeah. It feels like it's becoming its own big city. It's so funny though. I'm always what's the new thing? What's the new store I'm going to see this time?
Yeah, it's kind of funny if you think about it from the growth of the town and the city and can kind of compare it to your growth a little bit where you've changed a lot. And if you were to go back to playing older songs, you might do some different arrangements. You might throw some extra things into it. So it's like you've evolved at the same time that everything else evolves.
That's so true. Yeah. That's interesting, I guess. It's there's a new piece of me and then a new with every new build there's a new piece of me or something that I've
even when you think back 10 years, let's say up until Love and Hyperbole, your latest album, have your processes changed? Has your writing changed? How has that changed for you? And obviously it comes with experience and things like that, but aside from that, does it come from a different place? Do you have the same process as you did when you started?
I think yes and no. I think for the most part, I definitely still kind of pull from personal experience. My process of where I pull from is the same, but I think I'm a lot more free as a writer now. I think when I first started, being super young and being kind of new to the writing world and just going into the studio, I was a lot more shy and I was always kind of scared of saying my ideas, or I felt like I had to go into the studio with the song done so that I didn't waste people's time or so that they would know that I was good at it. And I think now I am able to just go into a studio with nothing in mind and just see what happens. And I feel like there's so much more freedom in that. So I feel like that's how I've grown a lot.
Yeah. A lot of your stuff is very personal. You mentioned that a lot of your writing comes from personal experiences. Where do you find, even honestly, as a public figure in a weird way of doing what we do, I find it hard to find the line between how much you put out there and how much you want to keep for yourself. So when you're writing, do you have a line? Are you very clear of what that line is? Or do you kind of just go with the flow and think, this is how much of myself I want to put out there. This is how much I want to kind of keep to my own bubble?
I would say when I'm writing, because nobody has to hear it if it's too personal, I'll put everything out there, and then if there's something that I'm let me pull back, I'll either change a lyric or just not put that song out. But I try not to limit myself when I'm just emoting, because then you can always figure it out later. The good thing about writing is that no one has to hear it. If it's not good or if it's too much, you don't have to put it out, so it's good.
It's funny you say that because I think about when Prince passed away and they found this vault of literally thousands and thousands of songs that were never released. Yeah, they were completed songs. They were things that he had worked on over the years, and they'll never see the light of day. I know. And when you put something out, it's there's clearly got to be 10 things that didn't go out. to get to that one thing. So does that one thing mean more to you, or does the other things mean more because they're your own and you're not going to put them out?
Ooh, that's a good question. I never really thought about it like that. Maybe, I mean, it's probably a bit of both. There might be some that, maybe feel a little too personal. Then those ones maybe mean the most. But then there are some songs that, I mean, to be frank, just weren't that good. So I just didn't put them out, because not every song you write is going to be good. Sometimes you have to get through the mud to find like the good stuff. So there are definitely a bunch of songs that I just didn't think were like that great. So it's a bit of both. It depends what songs you're thinking of,
So 10 years in roughly now, is it weird to you? Because it kind of feels weird to watch this happen kind of in front of us. You've become a role model for people. And,
thanks.
And you see a lot of people say that they look up to you. And you're not that far removed from having the dreams of being a star and having the dreams of looking up to your peers or looking up to your idols and saying, one day I'll be a peer. How does that feel now when somebody comes to you to tell you that you're somebody that they looked up to?
It's so crazy. It's always like the highest, honor to be that for people, because I mean, like you said, we all kind of grow up with our idols and people that we want to aspire to be like, or people just that we feel like a kindredness with, where, that person, that artist, that someone just makes you feel like you're not alone. And the fact that I can be that for people is like the most overwhelmingly beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful to have that. Even if just one person felt that way, it would be amazing. So the fact that I have so many people telling me that and feeling that way about me and my music is the best thing ever.
It's probably the thing that inspires the goosebumps when you're on stage and you look at a crowd that's singing your songs.
Oh my gosh, yeah, especially when it's like, everywhere for sure, but when you go to countries that maybe like English isn't the first language and they're still singing every word, that's even more incredible.
Which one blew you away? Which country was it?
Honestly, I went to Argentina in 2022.
Yeah.
And I'd never been there before. It was a festival, so I didn't even, when it's not your audience, you don't know who's going to show up for you. So we were just expecting, the bare minimum, and so many people came out. It was the most incredible show I've ever played. They sang every single word, and the whole band and I were in tears. When we got off stage, we could not keep it together because it was just so incredible.
I haven't been asked to be in the band, but I have goosebumps. Even just hearing that story, that's incredible, isn't it?
If you'd like to be in the band, you can absolutely be.
What instrument?
We should start a band called G Unit.
G-section unit, because the G unit's taken, but G-section.
Oh, did I say G unit? G-section.
G-section unit.
I was thinking of G unit.
G-section.
G-section. I was literally about to say G-section, and I thought of G Unit.
Yeah.
Well, G Unit is definitely not a band. It's a little bit more hardcore than maybe what we're used to.
Yeah.
But G-section we should start, and we should compete with G Unit.
I'm in. I am.
We'll start our own
We
group.
can make that work.
Kat, you want to be our MC?
I would have. I mean, my Nana is from Brampton. Rest in peace, Marion Callion. So
Oh,
I
okay.
think I'm in like a. I'm in there. I've been to Bramley City Center.
Nice.
You've been to Bramley City?
Of course.
Then you're an honorary Bramptonian for sure.
Have you been to Professor's Lake?
I don't know. Maybe it's possible my parents dragged me out all kinds of places there when I was little.
It's a conservation area that was man-made, and when you get there, you go, "This is a lake?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Got
It
it.
feels more like a a puddle, a pond,
A
if
pond,
you will.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can go pond
To
it.
swim or
you
not
will.
to swim kind of thing? Like
Definitely not to swim.
Yeah.
To not swim.
I feel like
to clean
it's
up
pretty
that area.
clear. It's pretty clear once you get there that it's probably not to swim. But no, I'm just kidding. I think, it's still beautiful and fun, and
Yeah.
it's just part of where we grew up. It's like home, So those
Yeah.
things are endearing, and
It's a charm.
I
It's like
do
when we
love it.
talk about how cool it was to sit on the green boxes when we were kids.
yes, I love the green boxes. Wasn't that like really bad for you? I found
Probably.
out because isn't there like radiation and stuff
Well, the
or
tail
something?
that I started growing is probably a perfect
Yeah,
sign
probably
that's
right.
what it
I
was.
thought that probably wasn't normal, right?
Yeah, probably from those green boxes.
Yes.
But we did. That was the meeting place, wasn't it?
It was the meeting place. The green boxes. You just had the deepest talks at the green boxes, man.
Green box is deep. You're
Until
so
the
right.
lights went out, and then when the lights go on, and then you got to go.
Yeah. Then the
Right?
green light with the shade on the green box. Now you're like, okay, it's time to go.
It's
home.
time to go. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be revealing too much. It's too much depth after that.
It gets
After
too
hours.
deep.
Yeah, it gets too deep.
Too much.
Yeah.
That's so good. Well, listen, you've got new music now, and it's I don't know. Do you want to call this a new phase? Do you want to call this a new era? Do you want to say it's a continuation of the great work you've already done? How would you define it?
I mean, there's so many ways I would define it. I think, I feel like every album that I've ever put out, I mean, like when I first started, I feel like there was like, kind of like a lump of clay on the board. And I feel like every album that I've made, I've just kind of, it's taken more and more shape, and the shapes are becoming clearer. And I feel like this album has definitely, I don't know, just shaped who I am as an artist that much more. And I feel like other albums have been like a step forward. This feels kind of like a leap forward.
Wow.
It feels like a big change for me.
When did you feel that change? Was it when you were writing, when you were recording, when you heard it back? When was the moment?
I think about like halfway through writing it. I wrote this album over the course of like 3-ish years, and I'd say about halfway through, I was like, I just kind of got re-inspired, and I was like, this feels different for me in an exciting way, and that's when it started to feel like, it was taking shape a lot more. So I'm excited about it.
Well, Love and Hyperbole, it is a beautiful album. It's beautifully done. It's a really, really great album.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.